4. Yo, it's your boy DJ Biggs, Big Talk with DJ Biggs. I got my man Mad Mike in here again. What's up, Mike?
What's going on with you, man?
Look here. Today we just gonna talk about what me and you both know the most about, and that's making beats. It's different ways you can make beats. It's it's a million ways. First, let me tell you a lot of my background on making beats. And before we get started, I would just ask everybody, if you like this content, to like, subscribe, comment, just interact with us as much as possible. If you like content like this and you want to see more content like this, just comment and we'll try to get as much comment like this. If you're an aspiring artist, if you're a producer, if you want to be a rapper, just comment and we'll try to have more videos like this in the future. But my background in making beats, and then I'll let you talk about your background. We're going to go back in the Soul Train history book on this. I basically started making beats on a Yamaha RX-7. I don't know if you're familiar with that drum machine. It's pretty much, I'm going to tell you, it was real popular back when MC Hammer first came out. And a lot of the sounds that he was using in that drum machine is it's a lot on his earlier records. I know, Let's Get It Started, the bells and all that stuff in there. So I ran out and got that drum machine and I was lost. And then I moved up to a Roland 505, which was a really good drum machine. It had a really weak sequencer on it, but it had really, really good sounds in it because it was a lot of the sounds was in the Roland flagship keyboard. So a person, I'm not gonna say his name, he's like, man, you ought to get this drum machine. And I didn't know no better. So I got this drum machine and I probably had it about a couple of years, and I still have it. I kind of list that as my very first drum machine, but I didn't really make a whole lot of records with that. It was just me just getting my feet wet into making music. What really started it all was a Kai MPC 2000 XL. Everything changed after that. I got into sampling records and chopping records, learning how to chop records, learn how to loop, build around loops and all that stuff. And then I had, I remember you had like a 8-channel track recorder. Yeah. I used to, man, that thing was really big. And I was like, man, but I started out on a 4-track. And I learned how to turn a 4-track into an 8-track. So then I was doing music that way, and then, time went on, Pro Tools came out, and we started using Pro Tools, but anyway. So how did you first start making beats?
So I came back from New York. I was around music in New York, but I wasn't really fooling with it. But like in the back of your mind, like I probably could do it if I tried it, but just never really got into it. Because my cousin, he was producing tracks,
right,
doing all kind of stuff.
Right.
He was a big DJ and stuff. Like I say, Evil D and them would come to the crib a lot, and they was doing all kind of stuff.
Evil D?
Yeah, Evil D, and my cousin, they real tight. They went to school together, so he would come over all the time. And
so if people don't know, Evil D was the DJ for
Black Moon. All them dudes.
Black Moon. Evil D did he have anything to do with Big Daddy Kane? No, I know what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Ice-T.
Oh, Ice-T.
Ice-T had a DJ called Evil D.
Oh, okay.
Evil D.
This is Evil D from Black Moon.
From Black Moon. Yeah. Evil D from Black Moon. Okay, go ahead.
Those guys. And so when I came back down here, I'm like, let me go and try this music stuff. I think the first thing I bought was I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I think I bought a Boss 5. Is it 550? It's a Roland.
Probably was.
Is it 550?
Yeah, that was one of the first ones.
Yeah, that's what I got. I bought that. I'm like, but I ain't got no sounds. I was always trying to get my hands on a sampler. I couldn't afford no MPC at the time. But I had bought some little cheap sampler. Some I bought down in Peavy's when he used to be downtown.
Right.
They tricked me into buying it. They had no space how they make no samples on.
Right.
I bought it. And then I got this kid named Eric Brown I went to school with. He had a Yamaha, it was real small. It was a sequencer, it was a I want to say a QY10.
Okay.
Real small, had all, it's like a keyboard. But
Right.
it had a sequencer in it. And I would hook that up to my drum machine, and through MIDI, that's how I got into MIDI.
Right.
So I would just make beats do like that, and I just hit play, and both of them start
Like,
playing.
both of them start playing at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that for a
see,
minute.
see, a lot of people don't know
Yeah, they
the
don't like
struggle.
that.
They don't know the struggle of making beats back then.
They don't.
You know, I look. Okay, so like what you saying about a sampler, I had like these friend of mine. He gave me like a Peavey sampler, and it had like ultimate. I mean, it was a long recording time, like sampling time.
The one I had.
And I remember I would do all the verses, and I would use maybe 2 tracks for the verses, and I would put the hook on two tracks, and I would sample the hook, and then play it back on one channel because
Gotcha.
I only had 4 tracks, so I had to play it back. So of course that was dirty, man. That was just, I mean, it came out really, really dirty. But man, making beats back in those days was
struggle.
real. It was a
It
struggle.
was a lot. You spent a lot of money for very little. You ain't have like I said back then. Sampling, it was hard to get a sampler that could go past 10 seconds.
10
Yeah,
seconds.
5
Yeah,
seconds.
10 seconds.
But I think the faster, the better quality you put it on, the less time you had. So
Right.
it was always a struggle.
Right, cause cause me and you pretty much missed out on the SB 1200.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause that was like early hip hop. That was mostly all the sample, all the the gold. What they say, the hip hop, the golden ages of
Yeah.
hip hop. They was using the SB 1200, and then they came out with the MPC. Since then, I've kind of evolved.
Yeah.
The biggest blessing to me, which I occasionally still use the MPC, but most of the time I use Reason.
That's why. So I bought me an 8-track, recorder, and I used that for a minute. I kind of got broke my back trying to figure out how to use it. So I
Right.
met Tony Jones. I go
Tony
to Tony
Jones.
Jones' house, man.
Tony was a beast.
Tony had Cakewalk. That's the first.
Oh,
that's,
man,
when I said-
that's
I'm
old
sitting there
school.
watching what this dude doing,
Right.
and I'm like, holy shit. I gotta get it. I had to get a computer.
Right.
Then I had to get
Right.
it. I had
And this was before laptops
Oh, yeah.
and all this kind of
Oh, yeah.
stuff. This was before laptops and all this.
Finally get me a computer. Tony hooked me up with Cakewalk. Gotta get RAM. Back then, you could get 16 megabytes.
Right.
Not gigabytes, megabytes.
Megabytes.
You was the man back then.
You bad.
So I
You
started
bad.
fooling with Cakewalk, and then.
So could you make beats in Cakewalk?
Yeah, you can actually make
beats.
beats.
I didn't know you could make beats in
Oh,
Cakewalk.
you could. I used to make them in it, but until I got to Reason.
So you got the
I
Reason.
fooled with Fruity Loops for a minute, but I didn't really get deep off into Fruity Loops. You learn how to fool with it for a little while, but the main thing was Reason.
Right.
So, like I said, Tony Jones hooked me up on Reason, and I learned how to
Yeah,
use
man.
that.
I think everybody had that bootleg of
yeah.
Reason. Everybody had the bootleg because nobody really afford
Nah, we
that.
couldn't afford no
Read it.
3 or 4.
But a side note, Reason. I don't know. Did it come out before Fruity Loops? Cause I know. Okay. Backstory.
I want to say
Reason really wasn't even for making beats. It was basically used for making music scoring.
Gotcha.
That's what it was created for. But then somebody got the bright idea that they could make techno out of it. And then after techno, they started making hip hop, and they just took off after that. Now the trap scene, they pretty much use Fruity Loops, and to me, that kind of gets me back to this article. Well, I ain't gonna say article. It was a YouTube video that this guy, I can't remember the guy's name. I can't even remember the page. So sorry about that. I go look it up and put it in the comments. But they was talking about when it transferred from using hardware, outboard gear, to software. And I remember this debate. It's been a long time ago. It's probably back in the early 2000s, maybe like 2005. And Ninth Wonder was considered the person the bridge from using hardware because they didn't really take Ninth Wonder serious about using software because how it sounded. And then, you know, digital sound and analog sound, that's totally two different things. It's totally two different things. So they was like, Ninth Wonder was using this, and he said it was a bootleg, you know, version of software, Fruity Loops, but he was making music for Beyonce. I mean, he was in this group called Big Brother. They was banging out hits. He made beats for Jay-Z. It was just a whole lot of people. So he is the person, the bridge between analog. So they didn't really take Ninth Wonder serious from this because most of them, the Pete Rocks and the DJ Premiers and the Q-Tips, they were really basically using the SP1200 or the MPC, and they was chopping record samples up and using, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know where you stand on this, but to me, that is the best way that I've found to make a beat is to use a record, sample the record, either chop it up or build a beat around a loop. Because you're not gonna beat analog. It's just a total difference. You can put as many saturation plugins and all this stuff on that sound, but it's nothing like using a sample, a record sample, and putting it into your DAW or putting it into an MPC. Now I still have an MPC. I still have my 2000 XL. I have a 5000 XL, and I can tell the difference between putting a sample in an MPC versus putting a sample into Reason. It's a total different things. Now, you know, I can manipulate it by putting saturation and all that, but you're not gonna get that meaty sound because analog and digital, analog is sound. Digital is from analog. So, you know, when they was literally, that's why old records are the best, because they was playing real instruments, real bass, real guitar, real, you know, piano, all this stuff, and then you get to chopping that up, and then, you know, I use Serato sample, and it basically do the chops for you. And then Reason has this program called Mimic, and you can put the sample in Mimic, and you can time stretch, you can do all this. So, I mean, where do you sit on the analog and digital feud that's going on? Because it's a lot of old school rappers are not really saying that the new producers are doing it because they're using all these loops, loop packs, and all this different type of stuff. Where do you sit at versus? I mean,
I'm sort of like in the middle. I'm cool with both, but I think I kind of lean more towards digital, to be honest.
Yeah, because
it made stuff a lot more easier. For me.
Made stuff easier. But do you think it sound better? that's my question. That is the debate. Because, okay, look, it's evolution.
Yeah.
It's just evolution. Technologies is just got so much better. You know what I'm saying? You can make beats. I can make a beat within 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I can make a beat in 10 minutes.
It's crazy, man, because the stuff that it's like stuff that you break your neck to try to do back in the days. You can do it now. Just buy a program.
Do it just real quick. Buy a program. Right.
Even from like getting a piano player or learning keys or all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do nothing. You have to learn how to work a good DAW.
Yeah. But you know, I still play all my bass lines. I don't fluently play, but I can play it good enough. I can pick good enough to make you sound, make it sound like something. But look, just in Reason, you got chord generators.
Yeah.
You got all these tools. You don't really. I mean, that just took. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. To use Splice and to use sounds and all these different sounds. I heard Timbaland say one time he could take a loop, which, you know, I'm not mad at him. You could take a loop, and I didn't put my music light. Yeah, I put the music light on. So you could take a loop, and you could chop it up a million different ways. you can take one loop and make 5 or 6 different beats off the same loop. Now you may pick up on it, but the average listener ain't gonna pick up on it. So
yeah, that's
you
another
know,
thing too. Yeah.
now using Slice as is, you know, that's cool if that's your cup of tea, if that's your workflow for the such. But to me, I think you're cheating the art by doing that. Now,
But you can't. But you say that. But if that's what they only thing they ever.
that's the only thing they ever did. It's like I said, Fruity Loops. Like
Yeah.
Fruity Loops, they got all these different loops, you know, loops in there, and they put.
And I used to like, to be honest, I used to didn't. Well, I fooled with Fruity Loops for a minute, but I kind of like geared towards Reason. But now.
So what was it about Fruity Loops
You know what it
and
means?
Reason? So
It's basically.
and when we talk about Fruity Loops, they're different type of DAWs. DAW is a digital audio workstation for those that don't know, and it's basically how producers make music. They either gonna use most DAWs. You can make a beat and everything, but most people they're gonna use either GarageBand, Reason, Pro Tools, Logic. But the 3 main ones is Logic, Reasons, and Fruity Loops. I don't really know of anybody. And then usually they use Pro Tools to record in.
Yeah.
They record it because Pro Tools is, they say, supposed to be the industry standard, but come on, I don't think that anymore. These DAWs are pretty much Logic. They are, you can record in Logic. I can make a whole album in Reason from front to back. But the only and another thing about using software to hardware is you got to have a powerful computer.
Yeah, you do.
Using cause latency, the computer dragging and this type of things, dropouts, computers crashing. But I think Logic has an automatic. They have an automatic. I know Pro Tools did. They have an automatic save.
Yeah. That's not
Reason haven't caught up to that yet.
That's one thing about Reason. To me, Reason is not made specifically for rap. For people in rap genre, you can use it. It's a good program to use, but like I find myself going. But being that I can use Reason in Fruity Loops, a lot of times I go to Fruity Loops.
Right.
Use some of the stuff in Reason, but I still record. I always record and I record my audio through Cakewalk.
Right. See, I didn't know that. Okay. So I do everything in Reason, and in my mind I have an internal clock, and I pretty much save every 5 minutes. I just click save every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes I click save.
Man, Cakewalk got an auto save. That thing had that thing.
See,
20 years.
I have no reason why. I don't know why Reason.
2 things about Reason I don't like. Autosave is one of them, and track folders on your tracks.
Oh
man, that's real important to me.
Real important.
They don't got it.
Right.
Like, it shouldn't be that hard to make it. Reason kind of like they be behind on stuff, but it's still a good program. But it's still my main program I use, especially for making tracks. But there's a lot of stuff in it that I like. Be designed.
Yeah. And if you're going to use software over hardware, most definitely be ready to invest in a computer every 4 years.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Because the computer basically,
that's about 4 or 5 years. You're right.
Right, and then they coming out with these powerful plugins, and then they introduce an AI.
Yeah, but that's
AI is going to be some totally on another level. But these plugins are they are eating up CPU.
Yeah.
They eating up and now I have learned how to. A lot of people ask me, why you only lose 4 or 5 sounds? That's why. Latency. People don't understand why. All your stuff is seems like it's so empty. Okay, I can't even DJing when I'm DJing. I can't do a whole lot. I can scratch, but people don't see me scratch because the computer, the laptop, or the stuff I use. I'm just an old gearhead. It can't handle a whole lot of stuff. So, everybody says, well, why don't you just, say, that's when the business come around. I only buy what the music pays for. If the music pays for it, then I buy it. But if making beats pay for these plugins and further, but I don't let it come out of my such and such. So you got to be budget friendly when you can't be spending money and not making money. So making beats and then, but using analog and software, is mostly comes down to convenience and workflow.
Yeah, what you used to.
Yeah, what you used to, but if I had a preference, I would probably still use software over MPC. I know that what's his name, Metro Boomin. He still used that. You would never think it, but he used MPC 2000 XL.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But what he do is he integrated with.
Yeah, that's how you have to. Now.
Yeah, you got to integrate and I think really what he does is he just do the chopping and the looping in the MPC and then transfer it over the Reason. And I mean, it's just like building a house.
Yeah.
If the sample is going to be the foundation for the house, that's great. Yeah. And a lot of people say, when I do these Facebook videos and you see me in front of the record player, sampling these records, it's because I'm building a house. Yeah. That's going to have to be and I mostly, I got samples that I ain't never used. I went through, my God, I probably listened to 50 records a week, maybe. I ain't gonna say I listen to every song, but I'm looking for that perfect sample, and I can trick that sample out so many different ways, and you will never know that I did it. Especially with loops. I can, when Splice, and I was on Splice way before it got popular.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I probably had 1,000 loops off Splice.
Yeah, I got a big account.
Yeah, I got a whole lot. I closed it because it was I think one of the reasons why is you can't use a whole lot of samples on social media.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna trigger algorithm, and then I got tired of this person has the same sample, and you got to go through this rigmarole about you have license to be able to use the sample and all that stuff. So I decided, okay, I'm just gonna use records. Even using records, you're gonna have to trick it out. You're gonna have to pay the piper one way or the other. But to me, I like sampling. I like sampling records. But for convenience, I use Reason.
One thing I will say too, man, about Reason is a very, very. I think if I've been using Reason by 20 years, I don't think that thing crashed on me 20 times.
I don't think
it
so.
Don't
never crash.
I think
you have to be doing. You're gonna have to be running a whole lot of plugins. For it to crash.
Yeah, it's very reliable. It's probably the most reliable program I've ever dealt with.
Yeah. How many beats you think you made over? I tried to count because my heart. I have. Even
if it's just little pieces of.
Yeah, man. Man, I have, and I've been actually going through a lot of my old stuff. Going back and making them better because you can see your elevation. You'll go back and see, okay, what was I trying to do with this beat? And I would go back and I would add stuff. I would do the mix because back then I couldn't mix, I couldn't master back then. I didn't really know the whole concept about mixing. I knew, low stay low, mid stay mids, high stay highs. I didn't really know about panning. I didn't know about low pass. I didn't know about high pass. It was a whole lot of stuff I didn't know. So now I'm going back and getting, tighten some of those beats up. And, I don't know if you know that I'm on a mission to make 100 beat tapes in 1 year. And everybody said, man, why are you trying to make 100 beat tapes in 1 year? But I want to do something I know ain't nobody ever done.
Like I said, I just checked my my CD baby account yesterday. I got $300 in there, just sitting there.
Yeah, that's sitting there.
'Cause I had my thing set at 700.
Exactly.
Let me go on pour this.
Exactly.
Go buy me some more stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. People don't realize. Okay, so let's break that. Since you brought that up, let's break that down. I'm trying to think what the easiest way to break this down. Okay, so you got publishing, you got streaming royalties, you got downloads, you got international sales, all that accumulate money.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people don't know, they hustle ass backwards, basically. They making all these records just for them to be seen. I'll put them on social media, but those records actually could be making some money. Could be making some money. Even if it's 5 cents, 10 cents, it's still money. And just like you said, you don't never check it. And the next thing you know, you got now. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, and I've never threw this. Look, I never threw this figure out. I never, and I own all of it, so I ain't worried about it. But, and you can quote me on this, I put out Mississippi Bounce in 2015. It ain't no question I've made over $10,000. I'm not gonna say exactly what it is, but I've made over $10,000 on that record alone because my business was straight on that record. I signed up for a pro. Somebody tipped me to that about pro. Somebody tipped me about Sound Exchange, and I made sure that I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's and made sure. And that record gets played. It gets played more overseas than it do in the States.
You'll be surprised.
If you got a record, and that record, I'll never forget, a friend of mine lives in Ohio, and he said he was sitting in the club in Ohio, and he said that he was sitting there, I think it was his girlfriend, one of his friends or something, and they was drinking, and all of a sudden Mississippi Bounce came on, and they was out on the floor doing Mississippi Bounce. And I was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't shocked, but he was shocked. He was like, man, that's my boy from Marina and such and such. People don't know that you get paid from that being played in that venue because that DJ has to pay a yearly fee, and all the DJs put into this kitty, and you get a portion of. People don't realize how publishing works, such and such. And you look,
and sometimes it might not even be a lot of money.
It might not be a whole lot of money.
It might not. Well, I take it back. It might not be a big lump sum, but it might be a whole bunch of little small sums, and that shit add up.
And that's why when a person get a hit record, like it collects really, 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 really fast. That money collects really, really fast, and then people don't know people that I'm not gonna sit here and make a whole video about that, but you need to learn. If you're an upcoming artist, you need to learn about pros. You need to learn about publishing. You need to learn about how streaming works, how downloads works, how to do your business, because it's money in it. You just gotta know how to make the money. But getting back to making beats. So Ninth Wonder is supposed to be the person that's supposed to be the bridge between analog and digital. So it was this whole article about that. So that's how we got on the analog and the digital thing. But it's so many different Timbaland, and I'll never forget, it was this quote that Timbaland said that, and I think Dr. Dre said it too. We can't hate on these new producers.
If that's the case, then again,
I mean, we really can't. I don't agree with all their music. I don't agree with all their music.
Music and
that's a totally different thing. That's a totally different thing. Yeah. But I totally respect they hustle.
Yeah.
These dudes making a killing off a laptop and a computer interface, and their creativity to be able to make all these different type of songs and making millions and millions of dollars doing it. And then I'm glad to see a lot of these producers have turned rappers because when Kanye first came out, that was like the golden rule. Producers don't become rappers and rappers don't become producers. But now, thanks to Kanye, that's a thing of the past. Because I remember it was a whole thing about, Rockefeller didn't want to sign Kanye because he was a producer, he didn't want to rap. But he proved it. He said, man, I can rap. And the rest is history.
He's still around and they not
right.
Rockefeller's not
Exactly. So when you're making beats, what do you start with? Do you start with a melody first, or do you start with the drums first?
It really just don't. It's most of the time. I probably start with. Since I learned how to play keyboards better over the years, I probably start out with chords, and sometimes I start out with a drum track. It's just either one.
Well, do you ever use chord generators?
Well, yeah, I use them sometimes, but because I don't know how to play every chord, and I'm getting better at that. But yeah, I use them sometimes, but I just use them as a not the go-to, but like it give me an idea how what I'm going.
So you play the chords first,
yeah,
and then you do the drum round, or you do the bass, and then do the bass line, and then okay.
Sometimes I might come up with a bass line because I can play bass a little bit. I can play a little bit of keyboard, a little bit of guitar.
Right, you play enough.
Yeah,
you play enough.
So I could get what I need out of it. But
so how long did it take you to start playing keyboard?
I've always been picking around since day one.
But I saw in one video you was literally out playing.
Probably within the last 5 or 10 years, I kind of got where I could play chords a little bit.
Chords.
I'm still not no great. I still got to get people, but I know music theory a lot better than I did.
Right, me too.
So I know how to get what I want. If not, I can find somebody that can do it.
Right.
Figure it out one way or another.
Well, how did you get there? Just trial and error?
Yeah, trial and error. Actually, I always picked around on the keyboard, but I started playing the bass guitar. And then, like somebody always said, once you learn to play one good instrument, it kind of like leads you to the next one. And that's why I started learning, like, okay, this how to do this and do that and do that.
Okay.
Learning key signatures and all that kind of good stuff. And from then I just really started diving in on the keyboards. Like I said, I ain't good.
Okay. I didn't know you knew how to play bass.
Yeah, I could play the bass. That was the first instrument I ain't good at that, but I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none, but I know how to play a little bit. Now I'm working the guitar. That's the hardest one to me. But in the last
guitar. Shout out to Justin Gray.
Oh yeah, that's the man.
That's the man right there. Justin Gray is
definitely the man.
Yeah, man. Justin is something serious. And Justin, I ain't forgot about that song I sent you too. I ain't forgot. Yeah, he got some real talent. But yeah, I think mostly, I'm gonna start out with some type of sample. Some type of sample.
I'm not good at sampling, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna start out with some type of sample, man. I have a big catalog of samples that I listen to and I haven't used. So, and I can make. It's actually one sample I took from one record. I know I've probably made about 10 beats off that one sample.
Yeah, man.
I've made about 10 beats because I might take and the snare. Okay, yeah, and that reminds me, stems. Now they got like I said, technology is catching up. Now you can put a loop inside of a stem extractor, and it could take the snare, it could take the kick, it could take the bass line, it could take the melody, it could take all that out and put it in the stems, and you can use those stems. Man. If I had that back when I first, I'll be a millionaire by now. I'll be a millionaire. If I had that back then, I would be a millionaire. And like I said, now I can take it like I said, and that's how you can get 10 beats out of one sample. I mean, Timberland said this. He was like, if he had what these kids got back then, he would be using it too. Yeah, exactly. You sound crazy to be hating on these kids now because they making some fantastic beats.
When the CD player came, when CDs came out, wasn't nobody using 8-tracks.
Ain't nobody using 8-tracks no more. Exactly. And I remember the ADAT days. ADATs, you had to send them out to get them clean. It was high. You had to send them out to get them clean and all this different type of stuff.
I always thought I would have won.
Ooh, no, man.
Back then, $800 was. I think they ran you about probably. I think that's probably the lowest, the low grade.
Man, low grade ADATs.
That was back then. That was about like 20 years ago.
Yeah, ADAT was like the digital recorder back in the day. It was like the first step of digital being digital, but it sounded incredible, especially if you knew how to mix. You knew how to mix. But yeah, I started with a sample, and I might strip the stems down or such, and I got pretty much every drum sound you could possibly imagine. But I have like, my go-tos is like 3 or 4 or 5. That's why all my drums pretty much gonna be, and that's something that's a segue into this. How do you feel? Like, I am really big about not wanting to sound like everyone else. I will go out of my way.
I ain't too much like that.
Not to sound like everybody else.
I just do what I do. If I feel something, I just do it. I don't try not to sound like. No. Sometimes it's like a slippery slope because you want to give them something that they want, that they used to, but you also want to be original. So it's like.
So do you fuse genres?
Sometimes I will.
So like what genres do you fuse together?
Like R&B and like I've actually been doing a lot of blues and stuff lately, but you can't really like blues. They want the sound that they want.
Right.
Pretty much every genre want the sound they want.
Right.
They want the instruments they want. So it's you could come along with something new and start a new trend, but it's kind of tough to because people want what they want. Gotta give the people what they want.
Well, okay, so Timbaland. Let's say Timbaland, and this is the perfect example. Timbaland has his own sound.
He always has.
He has his own sound. So when you go to Timbaland, you want Timbaland sound.
Yeah.
When you go to Dr. Dre, you want Dre sound. Yeah. When you go to Kanye, you want Kanye sound. Yeah. So it's crazy for me when I don't deal with a lot of artists. I don't deal with a whole lot of artists. Now I have, and you would be surprised how many mainstream artists I got songs on that I can't talk about that's sitting on their shelf, probably will never come out. That's another thing about being producers. You can have songs sitting on somebody's shelves that probably won't never come out. That you got paid the initial, but you're not getting any publishing off of them. And I remember Twisted Genius said that he sent Something to Prove to Lil Baby 3 or 4 times. Yeah, it's just the same beat. For Something to Prove, he had sent it to him like 2 or 3 times. And Lil Baby would come to him and say, send me a pack. And Something to Prove beat was in that pack 2 or 3 times every time. And he said he liked the beat, but he never did record. So that's basically some of the things that producers have to put up with. Yeah. But I was going back to say, I want that for myself. Yeah, when someone they want, but first you gotta get the right rapper to present that sound. Yeah. Now with me, yes, that's what I do. I fuse. I love grungy bass lines. I love grungy, and that's basically going to be my foundation. Excuse me. I could take an old sample, and I could put it in Polarizer, and make a bass out of a sound, out of a loop, or out of a sample. I can make a bass out of that. There's so many different ways.
That's a reason, right?
That's a reason. Polarizer.
You have to buy that separate too, right?
No, Polarizer is in it.
Oh, Polarizer.
Polarizer.
Okay, I got that.
Yeah, it's stopped.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
And I go out of my way I love techno sounds. I love garage sounds. I love Detroit sounds. Gotcha. Like different type of Detroit sounds. And I will fuse that. Stabs and stuff like that and make that into a hip-hop-ish sound. Mostly all the beats. I have a friend, his name is John Quest, and he has a signature sound. He's a band director, so a lot of his stuff gonna have horns. It's gonna make sense. I go out of my way not to make it, and that's the battle between me and him. When I listen to him, his stuff is just so clean. It's just extremely clean. And I tell him, I said, man, I could pick your beat out of a lineup. You could play me 10 beats and I know which one you did because it's gonna be polished for one, and it's gonna have some type of band director-ish type horns. All of it is gonna make sense.
He play keys?
Yes, he play keys well. He play keys well. He can play drums. He's actually a drummer by training, and he knows, if you hit a note, he gonna know that's C minor 7. I mean, when you get like that, I know the key. Yeah. But when he know the sub keys, nah, man, I don't know that. I even have I'm not gonna tell my secret. But that's not really a secret. I have an app that tells you when something playing, like Shazam. Yeah. When you play something, it'll tell you what key is in. Oh yeah. So I think that's a good tool you have, especially if you can't figure out what a key is. We used to have to put the piano and hit the key on the piano.
I still do that a lot of times. Sometimes if I can't figure it out, I'm like, okay.
Yes, yeah. And then Serato Sample.
Yeah, they do it for you.
It'll do it for you. Some of these dials of these plugins, it'll tell you what key the sample is in. Oh, yeah. Serato Sample is just it's amazing. It's just amazing. But yeah, I want people to come to me for my sound. So I go out of my way not to sound like somebody else. And me and Quest were talking about this morning. Don't get discouraged if you're a producer. Don't get upset when people don't like or don't share your beats or not really. Just keep making them. Yeah. Keep making them. Keep posting them, because it's 50 billion people in this world. It's a lot of people in this world, and somebody's going to end up liking your music. They're going to like your music. So what's something else we can cover? We talked about analog, digital world. We talked about MPCs. We talked about DAWs. We talked about how we make beats, how we started making beats. Who is your favorite producers out now?
Right now, like people, who are my favorite producers or who are my favorite current producers?
Who is your favorite overall? What is your? They ain't have to be in order. What is your 5 favorite producers of all time?
Oh man.
Mine easy.
I know I have to put Dre on there, of course.
Yeah. Actually, I got mine in order.
I ain't never really thought about top 5.
Well, let me tell you mine. Maybe it's all good. My first is Quincy Jones. I mean,
I'm thinking about just rap.
Man, have you seen the Thriller 40th anniversary documentary?
No.
Oh my God.
What is it on?
I think it's on. Is it on Hulu?
Yeah, he did Thriller, right? He did.
Yes.
Did he do?
He did
both.
He did. Look, he did Off the Wall.
Off the Wall. I'm gonna tell you this, man, right now. Growing up, Thriller was the shit, but as I got older, Off the Wall.
Off the Wall
is a better.
Look, and so you're gonna love this documentary. You're gonna love this documentary because one of the reasons why Thriller. Okay. So Michael Jackson. I don't want to tell the whole documentary. Michael Jackson was very upset that Off the Wall didn't get nominations for one and didn't win a whole lot of,
Should've.
So it should have, because if you listen to Off the Wall, man, it was a problem.
And I got the stems to Off the
Wall.
Off the Wall, I got the actual stems.
The stems?
People, man, I had went to the site and got a few stems, and the site went down. I got some stuff off of OJ.
Wow,
I can send it to you.
That's I need to get that. I need to get that.
I got the Off the Wall stems. Every instrument on there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Off the Wall is outstanding.
Yeah, because
man,
you dealing with Quincy Jones, man. You're gonna get the best.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna get the best. But I was going back to say, okay, that's one of the reasons why Michael Jackson set out. He literally set out to make Thriller the best album of all time, and everything based. I'm not going to tell the whole documentary. You need to really. If you haven't seen the documentary, you're going to love the documentary. It's called 40 Years of Thriller. Gotcha. That's what it's called. And he used he really, what he was really trying to do, he figured out that he had to crossover on Thriller.
Yeah.
Because R&B was so stagnant.
Yeah.
It was stagnant for one, and then two, you wasn't going to cross over in R&B. So he wanted to do an R&B pop rock album, and he covered it.
Yeah, he did.
And so it basically it shows what everything happened in order to make it. Cause really, actually, and I'll tell this part, the spoiler alert, they actually, after Beat It, I think, cause the song he did with Paul McCartney was the first single, and I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was the first single, because I always thought that was a Paul McCartney song. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was on Thriller. So anyway, that was the first single. The Girl Is Mine was the first single off the album.
They did that on purpose.
They did, well, I always thought the first single off Thriller was Billie Jean, but it wasn't. But it was really The Girl Is Mine. So, but I think it caught steam after Billie Jean came out. And they didn't even want to play Billie Jean on MTV. I remember that. I mean, I'm old enough to remember they didn't really want to play it on MTV.
When MTV actually played music.
So, yeah. So, they came out with The Girl Is Mine. Then they came out with Billie Jean. And then they came out with Beat It. And Beat It was like really started making this up. So, anyway, Epic was through with, because usually you got 1, 2, 3 videos, that was it.
Yeah.
To make a fourth video, that was something serious. They wanted to make a fourth video. So I ain't gonna tell you how all that happened, but Epic was through promoting that album. But Michael Jackson, he was like, and it had sold like, it was 4 times platinum. It was 4 times platinum now before Thriller even came out.
Yeah.
The video for Thriller even came out. And once that, and it shows what happens during all that. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but once Thriller came out, then it started, man. Then Papa Joe got in the, and something else I didn't know, and this is another spoiler. I didn't know that it wasn't a tour for Thriller.
Actually, you're right.
It wasn't a tour for Thriller. Really, basically, when Thriller. The Victory Tour, the Jackson Victory Tour, they actually did a lot of Thriller songs during that tour, but it wasn't officially. It wasn't an official tour for Thriller. Yeah, it wasn't an official tour. He didn't really go on tour as a solo artist until Bad.
Gotcha.
But it was you're gonna love the documentary. It tells a whole lot of details. It is a great. But yeah, Quincy Jones is my favorite producer of all time. Second will probably be Dr. Dre. Third would be Timberland. Fourth would most definitely be Kanye. And then fifth is I just love him as a producer, and that's Lil Jon.
Oh yeah.
Lil Jon is so underrated as a producer, but Lil Jon had a lot of hits. Now, I like the Q-Tips and the DJ Premiers and the Manny Fresh, because Manny Fresh, they basically built Cash Money on his back.
Yeah.
Just like Swiss Beats, they built Rough Rider on his back. And basically during that time with DJ Premier, like he got some of the best records of all time. Him, Q-Tip, Lost Professor. Who else I'm missing? I mean, it's a lot of. DJ Quick is underrated.
Yeah, DJ Quick very underrated.
Scarface is underrated.
Yeah, Scarface was produced. I was always thinking Mike Dean was producing.
Mike Dean did, man. After that Scarface Tiny Desk, I had to go back and look at Mike Dean's discography.
Yeah, Mike Dean, bad boy. Mike Dean been around.
Mike Dean has
because
been
Scarface
said
he got credit. Mike Dean got credit for some of that stuff that he did. I think they both was probably doing it at the same time.
Yeah, but Mike Dean is a bad dude, because if you haven't seen Scarface Tiny Desk, you really need to go see that. That was an awesome Tiny Desk, man. That was a really awesome Tiny Desk. But yeah, those are my 5. So maybe somebody else that was any of those on your top 5?
Yeah, I get you. Did you say Dre?
Yeah, I said Dre. Dre my number 2.
I stick Lil Jon in there. I stick Sound of Philadelphia. What's them guys' name?
Questlove.
The old school, the OJs and
Yeah.
Teddy Pendergrass and all them dudes. What's them guys? It's two of them. They still alive too. They producers and writers. What's them guys' name? We got a drawing a blank right now.
Oh man, I don't know what you talking about when you said this is Questlove.
The sound of the TSOP. This R&B.
Oh,
The Sound of Philadelphia with the OJs and Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah.
The two guys. What's their name? Oh man, what is their name? But these two writers and producers. I love
they
it.
real
They're
good.
real good.
Oh, and I forgot about L.A. and Babyface
LA and Babyface, yeah.
Jimmy Jam, Terry
Terry
Lewis.
Lewis,
Oh
yeah.
my God, man, they got
It's-
so many hits.
it's-
They basically made Janet Jackson's career.
Yeah, they pretty much made.
They
it.
made their career. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't know until they unsung that they did the SOS band.
Yeah, they
did
did.
the SOS band. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's what was
you
the
know
first
what,
one.
man? That's a group. If I seen them in the grocery store, couldn't tell you that neither
But they
one.
got some of
Them
the
days
best
they
hits.
jamming,
They
man.
jamming back in the day, man.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? California Love. Zap Rogers.
Troutman. Yeah, he bad boy too.
Man, you play a Roger Troutman song in California. They gonna lose they mind, man.
You know, I used to come down here a lot.
Yeah, he used to come to Temple
Almost
Theater.
every
He used to come to
year.
Temple Theater a whole lot.
That's
Yeah, I
how I always
remember
go to
that.
his concert.
Yeah, he came to the Temple Theater a whole lot, man. He was cold with it.
Yeah, you bet.
He was cold with that. Man. He was cold with that. But yeah, you know, I love producing music. It's like a escape for me, and you know, it's about, I would say about 25% of my income.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting up there, especially with sync licensing. You know, I've been doing sync licensing. I haven't had a whole lot of placement with it, and people don't really know. It takes about 3 years. Yeah, it's like what they call it. It's like a slow burn.
Gotcha.
It's a slow burn. It's a real slow burn, but the average person, they don't really start getting a lot of placements until after 3 years.
Yeah, I heard it was.
Yeah, and I probably have close to 100.
Put a lot of them in.
Yeah, because I know when I first got into it, I thought, you know, such and such this. I thought if the more beats I made, so I was cranking them out, and then the publishing companies was taking them, and they badged and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, and then everybody say, all the big boys in sync licensing, they say the same thing, that it's a slow burn, and once you get a couple of placements, these music supervisors start hearing your name, and then you start. So that's why I started getting into the meditation. Now the meditation, that's going well. You know, it's paying some bills too, and I got like 8 meditation albums.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, it's real easy. It's real easy to do it, and then it's therapeutic. Meditation is very therapeutic, and a lot of these corporate yoga companies, they play them. So I even have them on eBay, where you can buy them on eBay, buy the albums on eBay. I have solicited a whole lot of yoga corporations and such, blah blah blah. But anyway. Sync licensing pays bills, and this is just another outlet where you can make money.
Music is music. You make
Music is music,
that's
man.
fine.
And the goal is, you know, I'm retired, so the goal is for me to all of my income be from making music. You know, that's the goal. That's the goal. I mean, me being famous, being a millionaire, that's I'm not even thinking about that. Now, if it happened, that's cool. But me thinking about that. But my thing is, and then most sync licensing composers, they probably make about $10,000-$15,000 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money. Sometimes you can get money up front. Now that would just be sync licensing.
Yeah.
And then if you start getting on that level, and then you start meeting a whole lot of music supervisors and being in contact with a whole lot of music supervisors, then you start your own library. Then you making all the money, because with the sync licensing companies, I go through the sync licensing companies put out these opportunities for these network television shows, commercials, and all that, and we get the opportunities. We make the beats or the music to the criteria they put out.
Yeah.
We send it in. They accept it, and then they pitch it to the music supervisor. So my main goal is to cut out the middleman out. Cut them out, and me have my own library. So that goes back to what I was saying about me having 100 beat tapes. So I have more, So it's always a theory behind what you do, especially in music. You gotta think ahead, and that goes to the next thing I was gonna talk about: metaverse. Metaverse is the next thing. Metaverse and AI is the next thing. It's just the next thing, man. And if you're not up on the metaverse, you're not up on AI, you're not up on NFTs, you're not up on cryptocurrency, you need to get in motion on that, because that's where everything is finished. Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and what's the guy that on Amazon?
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. They're not pumping millions and millions of dollars into this for nothing. They doing it for a reason. They are doing this for a reason. And I think, my goal is to buy some property in the metaverse, and I want to have my own building, my own venue, concert venue. I'm telling everybody my business. But anyway, that's my thing, is to buy a venue, buy land, build a venue, and have people to rap in the metaverse. That would be cool, and I could charge admission, all this type of stuff. So, but like I said, that's the future. And I said that if you really want to know what the metaverse is, you need to watch Ready Player One, because
Ready Player One is an underestimated. I like that shit.
It is a great movie
really
if you want to see what the metaverse is going to be.
And it's kind of getting. How long has it been out? About 10 years?
Man, he was way ahead of time when he came out with that movie, but he saw where it was going, where everything was going. Movies really tell you what's finna get ready to happen. Yeah. Because they do their research on that. It was real good. It was really good story. Yes, if you want to learn, but the metaverse is the next evolution of the internet. So yes, all my beat tapes, everything I do, I put into NFTs. And if you want to know, if you want to learn about NFTs, you can hit me up, DM me. Contact me about that, and I can teach you everything you want to know. But yeah, I put all my music into NFTs, and I have my own page on a NFT site called OpenSea, and that's probably about the only place that you can put NFTs on. And and you can purchase it on there. The people that I know for sure that does NFTs is Death Row. Snoop Dogg, his whole label is basically NFTs, and he did the smartest thing. He took the whole catalog out of stores, off streaming services, made them NFTs, and then put them back in there so he could make sure that it would stay lucrative. All of these things stay lucrative, but all Death Row catalog, everything but the Tupac stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think he has his own. Tupac has his own thing, but everything else Death Row is in NFTs. Now you can still stream them, but it's mostly in NFTs.
Yeah, one time some of that stuff we used to couldn't stream probably about a year. So
yeah, because I know Aaliyah stuff you couldn't stream. De La Soul stuff. Who else?
Prince for a minute.
But I think now you can start streaming Prince stuff now, right? Yeah, you can get it now. So all that money going somewhere.
Drake, matter of fact, you can get Drake stuff, but you couldn't get the Chronic. You can get it.
Yeah, you can get it now. Yeah, because it was tied up in the Death Row stuff. It was tied up in the Death Row stuff. But now Snoop on all that. I think Dre ended up giving him, you can fact check me, but I think Dre ended up giving him all the Chronic.
Oh, really?
I think all of them, the first one, not the second one. Because the second one was on Aftermath. It wasn't on Death Row. It was on Aftermath. But I think he gave him the first Chronic. But he got all the Death Row masters. And there's something else. Do you believe that artists should own their own masters?
Yeah. That's what they should.
And I don't understand why people want to have not want to keep their masters because okay, so do you feel like artists should to sign to a record label or they shouldn't sign to a record label?
It's you got to do what's best for you at the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it might not be the best thing to do.
360 deal though.
That ain't no. I mean, if you somebody, I mean, it depends on what you know what I'm saying, what you got going on. It might be better for you than nothing, but it's not the best. They're not the best. They're kind of the people like
it's pennies. You get pennies. They're like, I want a record deal. I want a record deal. I want a record deal. Why?
Stuff ain't like it was.
It ain't like it was now, man. Like you don't even if you get signed to okay. So the standard now, and then we gonna wrap it up. The standard now is Instagram. People base everything about your followers. If you don't have at least a million, 2, 3 followers, record label ain't even gonna look your way. They're not even gonna look your way. So if you can work your tail off to get 1.2 million,
exactly.
Why you on a record label?
Exactly. I mean, they can. It's a bigger machine, but you already on the machine.
I can think of 2 people right now that's not. I can think of. I don't know if Kevin Gates signed to a record label. Because I know at one time he was.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so let's say he has it. Kevin Gates is not on a record label. Toby Nwige is not on a record label. Chance the Rapper is not on a record label. Chance the Rapper and Toby both got nominated for Grammys.
Yeah.
I think Chance won.
I want to say he did.
Yeah, he won. Yeah. I'm trying to think, is Tyler Creator? But the point I'm trying to make is, if you got that many followers, and your business is straight, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
You don't need a record label. Nah. You need a team.
Yeah, you need a team.
You need a team, but you don't need a record label. So that's what everybody is trying to, because in order to get on, and you're not gonna dodge this. You're gonna have to have capital.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have capital to get to where you want to get as an artist. I'm not saying as a producer, but as an artist, you're gonna have to have some type of capital. Cause I can't remember who it was. They said it's at least gonna take $100,000 to promote an album.
Yeah. I heard that before too.
$100,000 to promote an album. But I don't think everybody say record label versus independent. I'd rather stay independent on my own master than get all the money instead of selling my soul and selling all of my artistic work to a record label and getting pennies. Because you already getting pennies on the dollar as far as streaming. That's probably less than a fourth of a penny.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. And Snoop said, I want to learn, tell me how y'all come up with this number. You know what I'm saying? And Snoop gonna be the person to do it. I guarantee you, he gonna be the person to do it because he's in a position of power that he could take his whole catalog of. Okay, look, I gotta make an example, such and such, blah blah blah. But anyway, I think that you should not have a record company behind it because I think it's gonna get to a time where it's not gonna be no record label. It's not gonna be no record. Everybody gonna be independent. Everybody hot is gonna be independent. And I don't even know that Drake ended up signing another record deal when his ended. Cause I know he was up. I know he gave Young Money, Young Cat with really Cash Money / Universal / I think he was up. I don't know if he signed another because I know he has a lot of work in TuneCore.
He don't have to.
Right, he has a lot of work in TuneCore. But anyway, it was good talking to you, Mike, man. And I think I said I'm gonna try to hold you too long, but if anybody have any comments or anything about what we said, hit us up. He's on social media. What's your social media?
I'm just mostly on Facebook.
On Facebook, okay. So you can just hit us up on and DM us if you have any questions, because I'm pretty sure he does consultation. I do consultation. If you want to see how to make beats or anything like that. Our door is open. So until next time, it's your boy DJ Bees with Mad Mike. Peace out. Wishing you a good night. Peace. Y'all about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour. So you don't be noticing until the time goes.
Uh-huh.
Look at it.
We got off making beats. We got off making beats for a little bit. Then we'll put this in Opus clip. Because people don't watch the whole thing. I learned that. It's best just to put it in the Opus clip, man, and let it go. My phone, I can't believe my phone didn't ring. That's new. That's
It's like texting me.
she been texting
She
me.
about to call me. I had my phone turned down.